Teacups and Blossoms, and most importantly, welcome to 31 Days of Review. I have been very anxious, but also excited, but also kind of nervous, but also like, just get here already for this series. I have been on so many just like ups and downs, but I'm so excited that we are finally starting it. If you do not know what my 31 days of review is, for the next 31 days, I'm going to be posting a review every single day. That is crazy. But I'm super excited to just get all of these teas out and for you guys to see my thoughts on them, and I'm really hoping that you guys are going to find at least one tea that sounds good to you. So the tea that I'm going to be reviewing to kick off our first 31 days of review is Fantasy Island from David's Tea. Now, some of you may have seen on Instagram or Facebook, if you follow Teacups and Blossoms on there, that we had a death on the home front. Yes, thankfully it was after I was done reviewing, my little sample of Fantasy Island fell down onto the dirt and dog hair infested carpet, and it could not be saved. And it's so sad. But thankfully I was able to still complete my review, and I'd already brewed a cup before that happened. So that's just a little backstory for you of some of the emotions I was feeling. I'm laughing now, but I was not laughing when it happened. So, like I already said, Fantasy Island is from David's Tea. It is a loose leaf tea, and it is certified fair trade. The ingredients in this tea is black tea, coconut, and raspberries. The dry leaves of this tea smell strongly of coconut and black tea, and the leaves are very crunchy, which shows that there have been no moisture or anything that has spoiled the tea, which is really good news. In the dry leaves, I can see the black tea, shreds of coconut, and every once in a while, a chunk of raspberry. Something that kind of annoyed me was how the dry leaves were very powdery, and so there was just this fine black powder everywhere. It was in the bottom of my cup, it was all over my teapot, or technically, it was all over my Teavana tea maker. It was all over my ceramic tray that I was using for photography, and it was just very frustrating because I do not like when teas are that powdery, unless it's supposed to be powdery like that, and for example, matcha. So that was slightly annoying, and I don't know if that was just because I was getting the last of a batch, or if that's just how it's made. I'm not really sure, but I did not like that at all. The leaves expanded into full leaves, and they really looked like chocolate shavings. The brewed tea was a deep, almost black color and smelled like plain black tea. I couldn't smell any of the coconut or the raspberries. The head notes for this tea were black tea. Body notes were coconut, end notes were black tea, and the aftertaste was black tea. The mouthfeel of this tea was very sour, almost puckery, and it was very unpleasant. This tea is really interesting because it almost has two different aftertastes. Like the first aftertaste is, how I said before, was like sour and unpleasant, but then it slowly grows on you, and so pretty much how it feels like is you drink it and you're like, oh, okay, the tea's pretty good, and then the aftertaste is just like bam, and then you're like, oh, that's awful, and then you're like, well, it's not that bad, and then like, I can still taste it, but it's kind of unpleasant, and you're like, you know, it's actually not that bad, and then it's like a coconut aftertaste. It is really weird. I've never had a tea that has two different aftertastes to it. The first aftertaste is very strong of black tea. It's just kind of in your face. But then the second aftertaste is more mellow, and it hints at the coconut, but it doesn't taste like full-on coconut, if that makes sense. So something that I was disappointed in is that I tasted absolutely no raspberry in this tea. And the whole point was that it's a coconut raspberry tea, but I hardly saw any raspberries in the leaves itself, and I didn't smell them, and I couldn't taste them. So if you're looking for a raspberry tea, or you were thinking of this tea because it has raspberries in it, I would not recommend it because you're not going to get raspberry anything in it. It's mostly just black tea with a hint of coconut. So generally, after I try the tea plain as it is, how it's meant to be taken, I try to see if it'll taste good with sugar or honey or milk. And so for this one, I just added a little bit of raw sugar, and it was definitely less astringent. It still wasn't that great of a flavor, but it was definitely less puckery and less like With the sugar, it slightly reminded me of Christmas, not like chai, but there was just something about it that reminded me of Christmas lights and in the evening when you're sitting on the couch in front of the Christmas tree. I'm not really sure what that was about though. On the website, on davidstea.com, it says that this tea is even better iced. And so I was like, oh good, maybe it'll be a really nice iced tea. So I added ice to it, and that was an awful decision. It was way worse than it was hot. So if you have this tea, I do not recommend it iced because it was just not pleasant. Overall, I give this tea 2 stars because of the pleasant aroma that it had and of the quality of the tea, but I wasn't a fan of the packaging or the taste or the appearance of the leaves. I would not recommend this tea because it just kind of, like, on every single mark, except for the quality and the aroma, those were pretty good, but I probably wouldn't recommend this tea. So there you have it, Fantasy Island by David's Tea. I hope this review has helped you, and if you like this tea, let me know down in the comments, like, what is your favorite way to make it, or why do you like it? Because I'm definitely interested and I want to make it work. I mean, you know, if I buy it again, I currently don't have any more left. So I am excited, and that is our first review. I will see you tomorrow for review number 2. I hope you guys are having an amazing day full of tea and happiness, and I will see you next time. Bye!